Star quality. I got it. I got this. You got it. You got it. My chart says so. Look at me go. Sun, moon, rising. It's all about time. It's all about time. Earthlings. What's it all mean? What's it all mean? Star quality.
What's it all mean? What's it all mean?
Star quality.
Woo!
No, dude, really, what does it all mean? Star quality. I got it. You got it. You got it. Star quality. Star quality. What's up, Star Party people? Welcome back to Star Quality. I am your host, astrologer Stevie, and you're listening to Star Quality, my podcast and newsletter, all things astro. And we're going to get into this week's Leo new moon, which is in the throes of Mercury Retrograde, also in Leo. That is a very big part of this chart story. So if you're new here, welcome, welcome. This is going to be a breakdown of what the energy of this Leo new moon is all about, how we can best operate, work with, channel. My gosh, I feel like summer is moving too quickly. I kind of need this Mercury retrograde to slow down what the hell is going on. And yeah, I'm excited to reflect back this moment, this lunation with you. And you know, oftentimes, I don't know if this is like a form of synesthesia or whatever, like seeing colors as numbers and seeing transits as moments, songs, movies, phrases. But just looking at this chart, and I'll break down this full chart. If you would like to become a third space member and join me on the other side of the paywall, that will come up later, but this first chunk will be for all, and then the second chunk will be for folks who are paid subscribers. And this is the plug part, so let's plug, because look, it's Leo season. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta step into your spotlight. You gotta let people know who you are and what you're doing. So here, for $7.77 a month, so for the cost of buying me a single iced latte a month, like we're sitting down having coffee, I bring you all these episodes, bonus things, and also the chat platform here on Substack is only for paid subscribers. And now, new feature, you can now, before in the chat, I had to be the one that started a thread, but now anyone who is a paid subscriber can start conversations. So I would love to nurture that space for any questions, check-ins. Everyone who's in the third space is super cool. And I've had really, for some folks, they're founding members. So they've had mini readings that are on the house if you pay the full flat fee for the year. Also, if you have done that and need to redeem yours, just shoot me a message over on Substack. Anywho, that's my plug. Would love to see you as a paid supporter if you've been enjoying my work, because this is an indie user-supported platform, so it really does make a difference. If you're like, I don't really got the funds right now, that is all good. There is 7-day free trial, so you can check that out. And also, a free gesture that goes really far is hearting the post, commenting on the post, sharing anything that you like, sending this to friends. The algorithm knows when you are engaging with things, and when you engage with things, it bumps things up so that other people find it. I did have this Substack chart on the Faith and Spirituality charts. It went in at number 73 for like less than an hour, but it still charted. And that was probably because one of my posts was driving up traffic. So I'm very grateful for any and all, no need to force it, but if you feel called, interactions with the materials that I'm putting out. So, okay, wellness check. How's everyone doing? Oh, I was starting to start a thought about synesthesia. The tagline of this Leo new moon that came to my mind immediately was Oasis's "Don't Look Back in Anger," because I'll get further into it, but there's some Mars action, the planet of anger, the planet of fights, the planet of frustration that is in a real state of surrender right now. There's two very nostalgic planets happening right now that are unaspected that I'll get into in the full chart breakdown, that I think just are, it's like a mixture of like don't let the nostalgia, don't let the past define where you're going right now. You know, Leo energy is about the self and creativity and expression, a childlike spirit, being flamboyant. It's not, Leo is not a minimalist by nature. Leo tendencies are more maximalist. If you are Leo and you're like, wait, I love my very clean girl, minimal lifestyle, I will guarantee you that is not associated with anything Leo in your chart. That is, there's probably something strong with Saturn or Capricorn or Earth sign things, I would bet. And that's a good reminder, as I have space for reading. So if you would like to get a natal chart reading with me, check out the show notes, and you can go to my website, stevies.world. That's STEVIES.world, and book a reading with me. I'd love to sit down with you one-on-one with your chart. I'm also, if you've had a reading with me before and would love to give me a review on Google Reviews, I would love you so much, and I'll give you $20 off your next reading. So please only give a review if you've actually had a reading with me before. I only want, real reviews, like reviews from folks who experienced a session with me. And I would be so grateful. Oh, and this is another great place to say, if you're in the Los Angeles area, I'm going to be leading a new moon vision board workshop this Saturday in a public location, but I'm keeping it for invitees only. So if you want that information, DM me. It's like in central LA area, outdoors, and that is going to be Saturday, July 26, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to make vision boards. I have all the collaging material, supplies provided. One of my internet friends who's a chef is going to be making some really cute Leo treats. And I had a really good time last time I hosted a vision board party. So come, as I've been not jokingly calling it, scrapbooking, cutting out things, using your hands is just like analog scrolling. We want to sit and talk and do things with our hands. And this is a really fun way to do that and call in this Leo new moon energy. And funny enough, and I'll get into the Leo new moon aspects right after this, sometimes we're just doing astrology, and it always blows my mind when that happens. But I have a friend coming into town, and I was like, oh, do you want to do the vision board thing while you're here? And she's like, yes. So and that's a third space member, Stevie B from Austin, shout out, Aquarius legend. And I was like, oh, cool, well, let's do it in this time period. And it's a few days after the new moon, and I do think like that energy does carry, but I try to get in my manifestations or whatever I'm doing within the window of the moon still being in that sign. Now, sometimes, there's lunations that happen at a later degree and it switches signs quickly. Anyways, I'm just always trying to do it within the sign, if possible. If it switches to the next one, whatever. It's not a big deal. Usually I think there's like a 48 to 72 hour window where we're still in it, right? And technically we're still in it until the next full moon, like we're building up to release, then releasing up to build. But weirdly, just like cute astrology quinky dink, I booked that time from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific. I was like, okay, let's do like a morning, like bring coffee, sit at the park, and vision board. It is literally the final hours of the moon in Leo after this new moon to the minute. At 2 p.m., the moon switches 0 degrees of Virgo. Isn't that just a little astrologer dorky win where I was like, wow, that's like, sometimes we just know, And I do have like I had a semblance. I was like, oh, I wonder if the moon will still be in Leo. And I really was like, I doubt it is, but it is. So anywho, if you would like that information, shoot me a message on Substack or on my Instagram, spaghetti_witch, or email. I put everything in the show notes. So it's not hard to find where to message, and I will send you the information if you can join. And there will be more. They're fun. They're free. It's not like maybe one day it would be a business thing, but for now it's just a social recreation, make friends, hang out. park our asses in the sun, listen to music, sip, sips, snack on snacks. But let's get into this new moon in Leo. So this new moon is happening on Thursday, July 24th, 2025. That is at 12:11 p.m. Pacific time. So adjust for your time zone. The image of the chart is going to be in the show notes too. I'm only doing audio today. As I mentioned, I have a friend coming from out of town. I'm just busy. Oh my God. I have like so much backlog of stuff I want to share and post for you guys. A lot of that's going to be coming in August. This is my status update. Status update obviously was on the road tripping for 40 days, working on an art project, reimagining the Sabian symbols, which I'm feeling very passionate about. I'm really excited to make this a deck. If you know lit agents or anyone who publishes decks, I've met some people, but I'll always take a connection. And then the few weeks returning from that has just been work. It's been I work doing projects and things with the Astro Twins, doing readings, and then just I don't know, coming back from the trip, there was a lot of just thinking about my place, environments, where I want to be, where I want to root and spend time. And I was like, now we're in this Mercury Retrograde time. Then the eclipses are coming up shortly, in September. But this whole, end of July, mid-August is reflection. Then September feels like the information. And so, I feel like I get up, I have 800 things to do on my computer, and then I sit down. So that's why I'm really hoping Mercury Retrograde slows things down. But I still want to share with you more about my experience in the very psychic medium town of Lilydale. Hang on, I see 1 million flying things outside. I have to look. Okay, there were dragonflies. There was just so many that started coming up towards my window, and then they all kind of fluttered away, but then I saw a couple, so I was like, okay, it was dragonflies. And then when I looked down, there's a little boy in the next yard. I don't know if he was chasing them out with a stick, but he's twirling it like a baton and filming himself. So I don't know if he was just clearing out a bunch of dragonflies from the garage or something. It was so many where I was like, what is this swarm? Okay, so dragonfly symbology downloading right now. One moment. All right, and this is just some quick upper Google results of dragonflies, but dragonflies live short lives, so it's a reminder to live life to the fullest. Also, that there's an idea that a dragonfly's spiritual meaning is a version of ourselves that comes with maturity. Interesting. So this is about timelines with them, because it seems like then that makes sense for bugs. I feel like bugs often have short lives. Are there bugs that live a long ass time? I guess roaches, which is interesting because then we think of them in this more in a negative sense. Some other summary symbolic meanings is prosperity, good luck, strength, peace, harmony, and purity. Getting into our deeper mind. They're also, that's why I was surprised to see them. It says they're creatures of the water, right? I've mainly seen dragonflies near bodies of water. I'm not near a body of water. I mean, I live technically by an ocean, but I live very inland in Los Angeles. But so anyone in LA would be like, you don't. And I don't. But I'm just clarifying. I guess there's a river. I don't know. Anywho, maybe you need a dragonfly symbolism in your life today, and that is for you. So this Leo new moon is when the sun and moon are at the same degree. So we have 2 degrees of Leo. And I will, before we hit the paywall, I'll get into the aspects being made to the sun and moon, and then I'll go around the chart and chat about everyone else. I say everyone else because I personify the planets, and that just helps me contextualize their energy. I think of when we're looking at a chart, be it the transits or a natal chart, that all these planets are co-workers, right? Some of them are really similar, some of them are a little different, but they're all working for you. And so how can we best have them communicate, operate, function together? Out the gate, we have, it's just an outer planet fiesta yet again. The sun and moon are opposite Pluto. So we're back in that Pluto opposition-y time, and sun and moon together opposite Pluto. Pluto is always pretty much always going to be representative of power dynamics. Pluto is not a subtle planet. It is a small but mighty outer planet connected to the underworld, and the taboo and structures in some way, not in so much in like a Saturn way, but Saturn's also making an aspect to this moon and sun. And so immediately there's going to be those feelings of like some sort of imbalance or spotlighting where there's been imbalance. And, I'd be remiss to not bring up, I think of astrology a lot for regular people, right? I think a lot of astrologers, and look, I do this sometimes, but some astrologers are only about society and politics and the bigger world at large. But for me, like, I do want to help people use astrology in their day-to-day lives, and a lot of the times those big things don't apply to them. I won't name names, but there's one astrologer who I love, and she obviously has a richer clientele, and all of her things are like, you might be getting a new investment account today. And I'm always like, yeah, not that I don't have rich clients. It's just, I don't know. It's all very like, oh, this is for a different type of person, sort of what these are written for. But I would be remiss to not bring up politics in any sort of way. And I've obviously talked about politics on here. I don't know why I'm over-explaining this. Mercury Retrograde is probably why. But Leo does deal with leaders and regalness and who's in charge and those sorts of things. This can represent the public figures, obviously presidents, politicians, and where they are using their power, right? Now, again, this might be a little vague. Maybe this is also just going to start some wheels in motion. Obviously, the United States, I mean, what's there to even say? It's just like this, it's organized, not even organized. It's purposeful chaos, 24/7, 365. But we are seeing some fracturing from the powers that be, even from the people who are most loyal. And I think that's the highlight I want to say. Like, Pluto can shift things we didn't think were possible. Uranus, too, because Uranus is sextiling the sun and moon here, can also shift things we didn't think were possible. And then Saturn and Neptune are giving a trine to the moon and sun. Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and then Uranus is in Gemini. So all the outer planets, it's funny, it's like we're getting, to recap, an opposition from Pluto to the sun and moon, a trine from Saturn and Neptune, and a sextile from Uranus. And then a square from Chiron. So we do have like sextile, square, trine, opposition. Chiron, though, being our asteroid of our traumas and our pains. And so coming back to this too, I think there is some part of this new moon is like where we're involved, right? Where do we give energy? Where do we focus our attention? Where do we make things maybe more dramatic than they need to be? I'm not advocating for a life of ignorance is bliss. However, if you are just constantly in a state of making yourself riled up or not focusing your energy on actually what you're trying to do out here, this new moon is a real reminder of getting back to yourself, returning to yourself. I keep saying this for this Leo energy, especially because I'll talk a little bit about it, but it's not in aspect to, it's just wide enough. It's not exactly there with the sun and moon, but we have Mercury at 13 degrees of Leo retrograde, and it's unaspected. And so all this Leo energy is focusing back on the self. What do we need to do to feel just not like lost? I think this Mercury retrograde, and that's going to last till August 11th. And then it culminates with this really beautiful Venus-Jupiter conjunction that same day on August 11th, later in the day. This time period for the next few weeks ahead is a real timeout, hold up, no more bullshit. I think this is why Mercury retrograde can be great, is we get back to a place where we can take a beat, reassess, see what we like, what we don't like, where things are just have become too much. Maybe it is, depending on where Leo is transiting your chart, it's shining a spotlight on where it's just not good enough. Leo is a diva. Leo likes the finer things, and finer doesn't always have to mean rich and excessive. It can just mean aligned for what you need to feel energized, to feel motivated, to feel like you are actually in touch with the things that you want to be in touch with. So to recap, before I go paywall mode, that Uranus and Gemini is really even more encouragement of a change of identity, or a change of, maybe this is also a time to step into a change with also Saturn there, Neptune and Pluto, a place of power too, like claiming your expertise, claiming where you know what you're talking about, and not having anyone make you feel like you haven't done all this work to ask for what you're asking either. I think that's such a crazy thing of modern times is I sometimes I see people afraid to negotiate for money for things. It's they're never going to take away an opportunity because you asked for what you're worth. And I think that this Leo new moon is that, if you needed that reminder to keep asking for what you're worth. Again, maybe sometimes if it's not in the literal dollars, maybe then if it's in discounts or getting your gas covered or doing this thing. I don't know, I'm going in a work sort of mode, but in a relationship too, hey, it's not so much that I want to spend this amount of time together, that I want this level of communication. If you're not getting what you want, I don't know what to tell you. The Leo new moon is why would we not get what we want? And I think what's maybe driving people a little mad with the astrology of right now is there is so much astrology that is about the self, a lot of Aries energy, a lot of Leo energy. And I think it discourages people when they hear, this self priority, when it seems like society is only getting more selfish and selfish. And it's well, but we need the good people to also care about themselves and to tend to their garden, to put their oxygen mask on, to do what they need to do to feel like themselves, and not just pour from an empty cup over and over and over, or as soon as they get something, give it away to someone else. This is maybe also about spending a little more time with yourself. If you didn't have to account for anyone else, would you still be doing what you're doing? I think that's another interesting maybe Gemini reminder. Or also, if the answer is no, then are there people doing what you want to be doing? Are the power of being around folks who support your dreams, to that actually don't think what you're doing is cringe or too much or whatever. That's what I also keep coming back to with this Mercury retrograde is, and the dragonflies are back. Love them. Is, if people are saying you're too much, first of all, it's so rude. And often that's the response from people who are just too afraid to put themselves out there, and they're doing too little. And so that's the thing to remember is there's no such thing as too much. The entry to do anything you want is going to be vulnerability and maybe a little bit of being embarrassed or whatever. But to who, and who cares? And do they pay your bills? And do you even know these, the amount of other, the amount people think they're being viewed, which we are. There's surveillance, social media, etc. is real. But viewed in the remembered, or that people care that much. People are intaking so much in a way. And that's why Leo encourages not just sticking in this cookie cutter formula, but to do something that's whoa, that was really out there, or really bold, or really, I think Dochi is just such a fabulous new Leo, or newer on my radar, celebrity Leo, because it's damn, you did things different. But then also with this twist that goes back to the classics, just stunning. And this is going to be where the paywall starts. So if you've enjoyed this so far, I hope to see you on the other side. Again, there's free trials if you want to do it that way. Or if you want to subscribe, join the third space and upgrade your membership. And I'm going to break down the rest of the aspects going on this chart in just a minute. But thank you for listening. And check out the show notes for all the details. If you need any links to anything, hope to see you in person in LA or via Zoom in your readings. And let's keep going about this new moon.